Hey guys, good morning. Brent Abel here, webtennis.com, with another episode of the Daily Fundy. We're working on every day, 31 days, January 2025. And Fundy as in a fundamental. And the overarching message, the underscore message that I'm going to give you throughout this entire month, and you know that I've been doing this for not months, but years prior to this, is the same message that I got from Tom Stowe way back in the day, is that Mr. Abel, mastering the fundamentals, working like a dog on the fundamentals, getting so good at them, you know what? That is the advanced stuff of the game of tennis. Because when you really work on the fundamentals, you become a consistent shot maker. And consistency in terms, I'm not talking about pushing, I'm talking about high quality shots. You've got clarity, you've got focus, and those are all based on fundamentals. And so the whole key here is mastering the fundamentals, meaning that this is not like a light switch. This is not, I mean, these are all epiphanies maybe for you, but these are not like a light switch where you can just go, oh, I see. All right, whatever we're going to talk about today, January 5th, why the Fed head through contact, three question marks. Why do we need this? Well, you're going to get it. You're going to understand it. Its light bulb is going to go off if it hasn't before with this. But that's not the end result. Meaning that you got to work on this stuff. And I work on this stuff every stinking time I'm on the court. I just don't trust that it's like riding a bike. I mean, it probably is at some point after you've done it for, years, months, years, whatever. But I just think, I got to keep driving this stuff into my brainstem, right? So, yeah, the message, mastering the fundamentals is the advanced stuff of the game. So, guys, look, today's title is Why the Fed Head Through Contact, with three question marks. We're to get into that in just a second. Before we do, if you've not yet picked up my mindset training course, you got to do it, because look, if you're playing tight at the end of sets, you're playing tight at the end of matches, whenever. Look, we got to get through that. And I've got a course that's going to show you how to do that. There's 5 mini mindset habits that we need to train, and they get trained first off the court. This whole thing about you got to go out there to build confidence, you got to win, right? Well, again, the question for me always has been, well, how do you win if you're not confident? And that never ever worked for me until I finally realized that, look, we got to build this stuff off the court first. So, what I've got for you right down below when we're done today is a link. I want you to click it and drop inside the course. I got a great price for you. It's over 50% during the month of January. Let's get on it right now if you haven't already done so. Look, why the Fed head through contact? Well, the Fed head is the anti-peaking response right before contact, right? Peaking, Peeking, where, all the fundamentals that we've worked on so far, the first four fundamentals, you can have those absolutely nailed and locked down. But if you get a little mentally kind of like, not sure what's about to happen here right before contact, is we have a tendency to sneak a peek out there at the landscape, right? What do we do? Right before contact, we pick our eyes up to take a look out there, and that pulls our head up a little bit. Maybe throws the swing path slightly out of alignment, and either I mean, worst cases, it's a miss hit, unforced error. Maybe it's a well hit, unforced error. Or maybe it's just a slight mishit that actually goes back in the court, but just sets that guy up over there for an offensive opportunity. The Fed head is when we see Roger, we see Federer and all these great still pictures, right? And right at the moment of contact, even right afterwards, the guy's finished his swing. He's still visually locked, looking down at the point of contact. And this for me is like the thing that has made the biggest difference in terms of a fundamental uh, over the course of my over the course of me playing, competitive stuff. And when I'm disciplined to doing it, couple of good things happen. Number one, whatever the shot choice has been, whatever technique I'm going to use, whether it's going to be slice, flat, topper, whatever it is, when I do the Fed head and keep my head down, it seems like technique has a really good chance of working each and every time. The other thing though is the confidence that I get, and I think you will too, that if you drill this as a fundamental, and for me, this is the one thing I have to constantly drill every time on the court, is I exaggerated, right? I exaggerated keeping my head still, keeping my eyes down through contact with the finish. When I do that, the confidence for me really stays up here, right? So, look, you might be able to play shots back inside the court where you sneak a peek, but the confidence that just kind of gets knocked down when you do that because you're not sure about what you're going to actually produce with your shot choice, or you're not sure about where your opponent's going to be, or whatever it is. But it's a response, it's a reaction to being lower in confidence and trying to get ready for whatever might come back way too soon. So Fed doesn't do this. I mean, if the greatest guy in the world of all time, maybe, doesn't do this, then I think we ought to copy that. I think we ought to model that, right? Do we need to get sooner than he did? No, we're not hitting the ball nearly. We're hitting the ball half the speed he does, right? Or he did. And so if he can do it, then I think that we should copy and model exactly this thing, the Fed head, the no peaking response. And how do you do it? Well, for me, I got to make sure that in the warm up and every time with this month, I'll probably be talking about the short court warm up and then moving back because you want to make sure that that day when you go out, whether it's a practice session, whether it's a match, whatever it is that you're reinforcing good habits. This short court warm up, I see guys just standing there rooted. Nothing's going on, right? They're just reaching here, reaching there, balls right at them, not moving at all, tapping it back, and then they go back to the baseline. Their brain's going, well, I mean, we didn't move up there when we're just tapping. Why would we move back here, right? So you want to make sure that the Fed head is part of the short court warm up. I mean, look, if you want to chat about, you know, football game from last night, great. Go ahead and chat about it, but make sure that you are doing this fundamental for sure, which is when I tap, I really exaggerate not peaking, right? I don't want that response. I don't want a peaking response just because I'm up there tapping it so easy. I don't want to move back and then just start doing it from back there as well. So I over exaggerated in the short court. I move back. Now, look, here's the other thing is that anytime you from the baseline you drop and hit to start the rally, could be during the warm up, right? It could be maybe it's a practice session, maybe you guys have got some drill going on, but anytime you drop and hit a forehand, right, I want you to exaggerate the Fed head and just see what it feels like. And the sense that you want to get from this drill when you drop and start the rally on a forehand is that you want to feel, without having to get visual confirmation of the height over the net, the depth that the ball that you just hit is going. You want to be able to start feeling this. And if you really get good, if you really start exaggerating the Fed head, you're going to discover that you can feel without having to look up and get visual confirmation of what you've done. You can actually feel the height over the net. You can feel the quality of the spin. You can feel the depth. You can feel the direction. You can feel everything without having to look to see it. Um, the other thing I want you to do is to make sure that you're not just dropping every time you start a rally. You're not dropping and hitting forehands each and every stinking time. Why aren't we dropping and hitting backhands as often as we're dropping and hitting a forehand, right? We should. So, the other thing that I like to do is in the afternoons here in the desert, I don't do it every afternoon, but I would say probably every other afternoon. I take a bag of 50 balls, got my phone. There's no one else out there in the courts. And I just get the music going and I'll take my bag of 50 balls and I'll drop and hit five forehands, only focusing on the Fed head. I'll turn around, get 5 balls, hit 5 backhands, really focusing on the Fed head. And yeah, I mean, there's so many opportunities to do this thing right. I see so many players out there when they start a rally, they just slop a forehand over, right? They just pull a ball out of their pocket, throw it out there, and just kind of slop it over. And to me, that's another repetition of telling your brain, hey, this is how we hit a forehand. Don't do that. Make sure that when you drop and hit a forehand, you drop and hit a backhand, you do it absolutely dead perfect in terms of the fundamentals that you're trying to master. Because when you do that, you're going to get to the advanced stuff a whole lot quicker. All right, guys, look, hope this has helped. Any questions, remarks, comments, feedback down below, let me know. Love to read your stuff and respond. Sometimes it might take me a day to get to it, but that's okay. And look, yeah, in the meantime, if you've not yet picked up my course on the 5 mini mindset skills for mental toughness, right? And just like we talked today about with the Fed head, you know, we got to get mentally tough because we need clarity, we need emotional control, we need focus, we need we need tactical focus, right? And if you're playing tight at the end of sets or in the matches, you just don't have it. This course is going to help you get there so that you start getting those wins where maybe you're not getting them right now. I want to help you do that. Right down below, there's a link. I want you to click it. I want you to get inside the course and start this training. It's a 28-day training course that we initially build confidence in ourselves in our matches off the court first. Guys, right down below is that link. Get signed up, and like I said before earlier, I've got it over a 50% discount for the month of January of 2025. Guys, that's it for me today. It's time. We got to get out there. We got to help someone else have a spectacular day. Guys, I'll see you again tomorrow.